Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. Come on in. Say hello when you get here so I know we are live. Today, we are going to talk about heart words. Heart words. And guess who's here today? If you were here yesterday, you got to see Holly, who was disturbing our live. And actually, I went back and read some of the comments. And Holly was making friends with your dogs. Isn't that funny? Anyway, she's here with me, but she's going to go sit on her little bed so we can focus. But I know everybody loves dogs. So say hello if you're here. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see a little bit better. I am super excited. I am so humbled by the amount of teachers that have shown up, who have emailed me, who've watched the replay on YouTube. I am just so humbled. It is your break. You are hardworking and you are here. You are dedicated to serve your students, to learn more about teaching and gain more knowledge and just to get some new strategies. And I'm just in awe. Teachers are amazing. Wish I could go out and shout that to the world because sometimes teachers get like a bad rap. Anyway, I'm super excited. I see lots of familiar friends and I'm super excited. Day one on Monday, we did sound walls and I shared everything about sound walls and how to effectively use them in your classroom. If you haven't had a chance to watch that video is also on YouTube. I've loaded that so you can watch the replay. I'm sorry the video was a little bit blurry. I had a house full of people and they were all on the Wi-Fi, and I think that's the problem. So I literally kicked them out yesterday and today. I was like, you cannot be on the Wi-Fi. Day two, yesterday, we talked about phoneme mapping. It was so fun, and I hope you got a lot of good insight and strategies. I know that several people grabbed that bundle for 40% off and just was like, thank you so much. That's awesome. I know some people are watching the replay, so that bundle is also still 40% off until midnight tonight to give people a chance who are watching the replay. The link is in your email if you got the email this morning. So today is day 3 of 4 days of SOAR. And today we are going to talk about the discovery of orthographic mapping and what exactly that is. Yesterday, I talked to you a little bit about it, and I said that we were going to go much deeper into it today. So we're going to kind of use that knowledge, and we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about heart words, which is just really phoneme mapping of high frequency words, or what you might consider sight words, dolt words, fry words, tricky words, red words. I mean, we all have, I heard them called popcorn words. Like we all have these words that we, use for these tricky or irregular words. So we're going to talk about those high frequency words and use the heart word method. And I brought my little whiteboard here because I'm going to go through the whole routine of how you are going to do this with your students in your classroom. And I have a whole bunch of goodies for you, some freebies for you, including I put together a slide deck, and I thought that you might really want that slide deck. So everything I'm going to share with you, you're going to get access towards the end here. We'll drop the link so that you can have access to the freebies. There's some heart word freebies to get started. There is the routine in there, and there's the slide deck, and you win a card. No, there is and we'll talk about this during the slides, but a way to teach heart words is the first thing you want to do is match your high frequency words with the phonics pattern. So I have done all of that for you. Literally, I just want to give that to you to lift a little bit of the burden for you. So at the end, Everything that you see there, I'm going to give that to you. I'm also going to offer, just like before, a discount, 40% off my HeartWord resource. So if that is something that you don't want to have to recreate all of the things to teach your kids, if you like it, you can grab it for 40% off. So I'll do that. And I all these things. I brought my cards so we can have some more fun giveaways today. And let's also give away a tumbler. So I have a few more of these, Teach with Bliss. So let's do 3 giveaways today, so someone can get one of these mailed to their house. And are you guys ready to get started? So I am. So first of all, I hope that we're friends. If you don't know me already, I think if you're just stumbling across this live video, I'm Christina Winter, and I was formerly a first grade teacher for 21 years, mostly first grade. And I stepped away from the classroom a couple of years ago because I wanted to be available for my family. And now I just spend all my time researching, reading, learning, taking courses, watching webinars, and sharing, because I still love I miss teaching terribly. So when my daughter's in school, I'm able to do all of that and then be home with her at night and be available for my family at night. So that's what I do. I would like to share with you kind of what I've learned and give you strategies that you can take right back to your classroom right away. So let's get started with that. I'm going to share with you some slides. So let's get this tech working. Okay, there we go. So we're going to talk about the discovery of orthographic mapping and a better way to teach sight words. So let's see. I think if I go here, yep. Okay. So to learn more, I am again, what I said, I'm going to give this to you so you don't have to worry about writing down all these links. But I'm going to share with you a bunch of knowledge, but you might want to go deeper. I want to kind of give you as much as I can, but there's still more to learn, right? So the first thing, and I know I've talked about this on day 1 and day 2, but this book again is amazing. Dr. David Kilpatrick, he wrote Equipped for Reading Success. I've given you the link. If you would like to purchase it, ask your school to buy it for you. It's $50, but it's such a good book. And chapter 4 in this book talks all about orthographic mapping and how we word recognition for instant retrieval. So chapter 4 is amazing. I think you will gain a lot by reading this book. Plus the book has a lot of phonemic awareness tasks, which we talked about yesterday, that our students have to have a solid foundation in phonemic awareness, or they will be struggling readers. So that's this book. There are other links there for you to take a look at when you have some time that talk about exclusively the HeartWord method. And there's blog posts that I've written and other places that I've learned knowledge. So that's there for you. So let's get started here. First of all, when we talk about a sight word, you probably, if you tell your colleagues, I'm going to teach my students sight words, they probably think of words like the, and, he, she, said, they, those tricky words, those hard to spell words, those irregular words, right? But in the true definition of sight words, like we said yesterday, they're any words that you can read with automaticity, you can be reading accurately, you can read effortlessly because you know them by sight. They're considered sight words because you recognize them by sight. So how do they get there? If you go back to what we talked about yesterday, our brains are not wired for reading. That is not a natural thing. Our brains are wired for speech sounds. And so how do fluent readers get to know these words by sight? How do they get them? How are they able to instantly retrieve them? Well, before we answer that question, let's see. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about high frequency words. So let's put off like words that are decodable. Let's talk more about what we consider, what we as teachers would in the past considered sight words, high frequency words, right? Those are the words, if you had a word wall or if you still have a word wall, those are the words, those tricky words that we would post on our word wall. This is a picture of my word wall when I pulled it down. And until recently, we thought that we had to teach these words by sight. We had to hold up a flashcard to our students and we had to say, read this word. It says said, and push it away, like by rote memorization. This is a photograph of my word wall. And then also I used to do this whole checkout system where I'd send home a word list. I would tell my parents, I trained them like at back to school night. And I said, your kids need to know these words in 1 second, no decoding, learn these words on list 1. When they bring it back, I'll test them and then I'll give them list 2 and we'll just keep going until they get all 220 sight words. Okay, so that was our old way of teaching sight words. And that is the way that I learned how to, this is what my district told me, my curriculum people told me. This is all I really knew. For many words that we simply thought that if our students saw a word enough times, that they would eventually learn it. And we sent home those word lists and we asked them to please memorize them and we put them on our word walls, right? Well, that does work for some students, but it doesn't work for all students. And that is what we are learning through everything. Like you're here because of SOAR, so Science of Reading. That's the body of research that tells us how children best learn to read. And the body of research is decades old. It is not something new, like the pendulum is swinging this way. It is a lot of research on many types of students, many different children's, many settings. This body of research has revealed to us that what is happening in the brain and how children best learn to read. And so some of the old ways that we were teaching, the strategies we were teaching, was actually we're teaching what struggling readers were doing. And we don't want to do that anymore. So that might have worked for some students, but maybe not all of them, right? So let's see. This is not... Okay, there's my little guy, right? So over the last few decades, reading experts and cognitive scientists, they wondered, is there a better way to reach these struggling readers and all readers actually? And they began to look more closely at the science. And what they learned is that we do not store and retrieve words based on visual memory. In fact, the scientists said that our visual memory is not capable of storing 30 to 90 images of words. It's not even, they concluded that you're not capable of actually doing that. Your brain is not capable of doing that. So they discovered that something else is happening. And so what is actually happening? And so what does science say about the way that we learn these sight words? And so in his book, in David Kilpatrick's book, Equipped for Reading Success, he explains the mental process, which was first, we'll give credit to Dr. Lene Airy. But she's the one who actually came up with this or discovered or announced, I guess, that we permanently store words using this mental process called orthographic mapping. And it's really how we take an unfamiliar word, how our students are going to take unfamiliar words and turn it into a immediately recognizable sight word. word that we'll recognize by sight, whether it's a regular, meaning decodable, or irregular word. Okay, this is all happening in the background. So, like I said yesterday, orthographic mapping isn't something like, I'm going to do a lesson on orthographic mapping. You're not going to do that. That's the mental process. That's what's happening inside of our brains. We're mapping the words. And really, what that means is that we are connecting the sound to the grapheme or the letter or the symbol. And we're making that connection in the brain so that when we see that, we instantly know it by sight. Okay, that's what's happening in the background. It's unconscious. So the way that we do orthographic mapping, or the way we promote it, is by phoneme grapheme mapping, which is what we talked about yesterday. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And so let's take a step back for a moment. So another book, I know I shared this with you, it's not as easy reading, but it's definitely a great reference if you're a book nerd like me and you want to read, or you want to have something to pull out to maybe understand. But Dr. Louisa Moats wrote this book, Speech to Print, and it is really a great book. But you know what her Speech to Print is talking about how, again, our brains are hardwired, or it is natural for our brains to make sense of speech, to understand speech. We can understand that and better than we read, right? That's the natural thing. So with just the same process is happening when we access words by hearing them, is going to be the same process that happens when we're reading them. So I wanted to take a step back here. So how do we instantly access words that we hear? So we hear the word, we hear a sequence of sounds, and we recognize them. And then we match them to the stored sounds that we know, that we recognize them. And then our oral vocabulary is activated, and then we make meaning of that. So babies do that. And, so as children grow and before they're even reading, they're making sense of speech sounds and they're gaining meaning from speech. Even my dog does that, right? Okay, so this oral filing system is the same system or the same process that we do for reading. And so let's look here. So David Kilpatrick talks about this again in chapter 4 of his book, but he talks about meaningful letter strings. So words are really just these meaningful strings of letters that represent words. Well, they're meaningful only because we have identified that this phoneme is represented by this grapheme. So this sound is represented by this letter. It's meaningful in that way. And that is because of our experience. It is familiar to us. We have learned. So students must learn that they have to have the alphabetic principle to understand that this letter represents this sound, right? It has to be familiar to them. And once they're familiar to them, they become unitized, like a unit. We see it and we instantly connect the meaning. So when we see the letter C, well, C could make two sounds, but for example, the hard C, when we see that letter C, then we can say instantly, right? We have that. We connect the meaning to it. We don't have to consciously focus on that part. So if you, here's an analogy that he uses. These are meaningful letters. If you live in the United States, these are meaningful letters to us because we have a past experience. We know that FBI, even though that's not really a decodable word, but we know that those letter strings mean something. We know that NBA, that means like National Basketball Association. We know that we don't want the IRS anywhere near us. We have this like meaningful association with those letter strings. So it's kind of the same thing for our students. These slides. So when we hear the word cat and we hear the phoneme k, at, right? We make those letter sequences, they become meaningful because that letter order is designed to match the sounds in the spoken word. Okay? So our students have to have phoneme awareness. So again, we said that earlier, that's like the basic foundation so that they can recognize that connection and they can anchor them for instant retrieval. And without phoneme awareness, if they don't have that, then those letter strings are not meaningful to them, and it becomes very difficult for them to remember and make them familiar. Okay? So we know that reading is not visual, and it doesn't matter what font you use. I mean, for new readers, it does a little bit, like if they get to those tricky, like A's are written differently, we're choosy about the fonts that we use, but as fluent readers, we can read in cursive, we can read with this kind of font or that kind of font, but it's not a visual thing. It doesn't matter if it's uppercase letter, lowercase letter, because they're in a precise order, CAT. That's a precise order, and we've anchored it into our permanent memory. All right. So this is from David Kilpatrick's book. He says, letter sound skills are not optional for the efficient permanent storage of words. They're essential. Again, back to phonemic awareness, the basic foundation. So if we are teaching our students, this is the word said, and we put it on a flashcard, or we, flash it at them, however we were doing it in the past, which I did. If we're doing that, we're actually doing a disservice for our students because they're never taking the opportunity, they're never having the opportunity to connect or anchor the phoneme to the grapheme, the letter to the sound. They're never getting that opportunity to map it and to anchor it and store it. Okay. And it says here, in order for our students to become good mappers, Kilpatrick says that they have to develop 3 skills. So they have to have automatic letter sound association, which I think is so crazy. I've talked to so many teachers this year as they're, diving into heart words or high frequency words, mapping words. And they're saying, my school district wants me to teach 25 words in the first quarter. And I'm like, what? Your kids don't even know all their letters and sounds yet. Why? They just don't, I don't understand. So take this knowledge, again, get the book and share with them. But yeah, so they have to know their letters and sounds. They have to be proficient with phonemic awareness. And then we have to build in word study opportunities, which is what we're going to talk about today, phoneme grapheme mapping with the heart word method. So Kilpatrick believes that the word study aspect is the super glue that anchors the words into our permanent memory. This means that, we're going to come back to this again, that our students need explicit instruction on how to connect those sounds to the letters or the sounds to create the written word, to become meaningful, unitized letter strings. Okay. All right, we're almost done with the boring stuff, right? It's important. Oh, Joe, I hate to hear that's your district. I see that in the comments. Okay, so here's the word said. So when we're trying to teach our kids to read and spell sight words, we were relying on memorization, and we were actually leaving out word study. And it was as if we thought those sight words were a special set of words that needed to be memorized. And they couldn't be learned by connecting the sound symbol relationship. Well, we were wrong, right? And so many reports of teachers who are reporting. Again, I'm not in the classroom, but I'm sure working with a lot of teachers, and I'm hearing that this is actually working. Their kids are getting it. So just to recap, before we get into the heart words, the science tells us that storing and retrieving words is not a visual process, and that students have to use their phoneme awareness skills and letter sound knowledge for permanent word storage. So if we're just putting words on a ring and flashing them and saying, know this in a second, know it by sight, and we're not connecting the decoding of the word, then we're not allowing our students to actually map those words for effortless retrieval. Okay, now this is, you may have heard of the term heart words. Heart words just means that there's a tricky part, there's a heart part, if it's an irregular word, or if it's a word that is what we call a temporary heart word, because students haven't learned that phonetic skill yet. Here's an example. This word saw would be a temporary heart word because it is a decodable word once students learn the aw is spelled with AW, once they've learned that phoneme. But if you teach first grade or kindergarten, and I hope this is straight on the camera, but it does say saw. If you teach kindergarten or first grade, they might not learn that. They might not be explicitly taught that until later in the year. So this would be a heart part because they haven't been taught that yet. This would be a temporary heart word. So would C. C would be a temporary heart word because students can learn, or this becomes a decodable part once they learn the double E makes the long E sound. But at the beginning of the year, if they only know consonants and short vowels, then they might be saying set, right? So this would be temporary, and then it becomes a decodable part. Whereas the word said is always an irregular or permanent heart word, because said, AI will never say the sound. They will never learn that grapheme or the grapheme pattern. AI usually says a, right? So this is what we call a permanent heart word. So we're calling them heart words because it's a way for us to teach what I'm going to model for you, the routine, so that you can do that back in your classroom, is that we're going to teach our students these squares right here, just representing that there's a phoneme sound. It actually doesn't matter what color the square is. I created a bunch. I made these cards and I created them all with the same color for the initial. And I did them in color order just because that logically makes sense, but you don't even have to put a square. It's kind of just marking that this is one sound, this is a second sound, and a third sound. Okay, so this is a regular sound, irregular sound, and a regular sound. So we're going to teach our students the regular sounds, and we're going to talk through or help students pay special attention to the irregular parts. And we're going to put a heart there because we're telling our students, this is an irregular heart. This is a part we kind of have to know by heart at this time. If it's a temporary word, we can take that part off. I know some teachers are having their students, put the heart on and then take it off. So we'll look at that in just a minute. So on this slide, what I'm showing you is one of the things you're going to get in the download. I'm sorry, you can't see the card. Okay. So in there, you're going to see the I've matched up because we're talking about we have to integrate all of our high frequency words with our phonics patterns, we're going to go ahead and match those up. So you're going to get a chance, or you're going to get a chance. You're going to get a download where I've already matched them up for you so that when you are teaching like short E, that you will know you can teach what words you'll teach. So for example, you're teaching short E and you can teach the words get, let, read, 10, yes. And then you can also teach the irregular or permanent heart word said, because said, our students would want to know that word is a very high frequent word. And it's like a high utility word, I guess would be a better way to say that. And you want to teach that early in the year because that's a word that students are going to use a lot, right? In their reading and their writing. So we've matched up our phonics skills to the irregular, and some are decodable, like the word can and let is a decodable word. We can call those flash words because they're high frequency words, but they are decodable, right? So we have, and then we have like the temp. So there's flash words, which are 100% decodable. There's temporary heart words because until they learn the rule, they like the word see would be, again, that's a temporary heart word because until they learn the double E makes the E, this would be a heart part of the word. But the word said would always be a heart word. And it's not that important that your students understand that. It's just I'm trying to give you some more knowledge. Okay, so you're going to get that scope and sequence where it matches up to the phonics skills because we want to be teaching. We're going to make that connection. It's going to be way more meaningful in our explicit instruction so our students can map those words using their phonemic awareness skills. And then the last slide here. I'm going to go through the routine, and you're going to get this as well for your students when you're teaching the heart word method with your students as you're introducing those words. Okay. Okay. So let's stop sharing that. Okay. Here we go. All right. Back. It's not as easy to flip through those slides. So thank you for your patience. Okay, so you're in my class, you're my first graders, and I'm working on short E words this week, and I know my students are going to need to know the word said because that, again, is a high utility word. And at the beginning of the year, they're going to come across that word quite a bit. They're going to want to write that word. It is definitely a tricky word. And so we are going to go through the heart word method. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather all my friends around me and I'm going to say, friends, today we're going to learn a new heart word. I'm so excited to share this with you, and I can't wait to see how you'll know this word. So I'm going to tell them today's word is said. Everyone say the word said. And so we're going to say said. Remember, we're working on speech to print. So the first thing I'm doing is activating their speech, what they hear, right? So I'm saying said, and then I'm going to use the word in a sentence because I want to connect it to the context. I want to connect that part for them. So my mom said, how was your day at school? So then I might ask for a few friends, tell me how you could use the word said. And then they can just quickly. This moves fast. So they're going to say to me like, my brother said, can I have a bite? Or I said no. David said no. So they're doing that, right? And then I'm going to say, okay, well, now we know the word said. Let's say it one more time. Said. Okay. We're going to tap out the sounds we hear in said. So we're connecting the speech. So I'm saying said. So it's the I do first. Remember explicit instruction. I do, we do, you do. So we're giving, we're passing it off to them. So I'm going to say said, said. said, or said, said. Also, I got this from Deb Glasser in her course, Reading Teacher's Tools. I loved it. She does head, waist, toes. So you do and the kids, get a chance to move around a little bit if they need it. So you can say said. Okay, we all agree. How many sounds in the word said? And your friends say 3, right? So we've identified there are 3 sounds in the word said. We've tapped it out. Now we're ready. Remember, we're doing phonographic mapping. So we can use, like, if you're doing this like in a table with a small group, or if you're doing this under a document camera, or I've created slides and you can like move little counters, or if your students are using their whiteboards, you can just show them. We're going to, we know there's 3 sounds, but we're going to kind of like map the word. So we're going to say, we're going to draw a line for each sound. So here we go. D. And again, I'm saying d. Your students they've not seen any letters yet, right? We're only focusing, we're on the speech part here. We're sending that speech, right? So now we say, what's the first sound that we hear in the word said? Right? That's a regular part. So my friends are going to say s. We're going to say s. Okay, what do we write when we hear s? We write s. Okay, so we have s. What letter spells that sound? S. Okay, and then we're going to say again, what's the word said? Okay, everyone say said. Said. What do we hear at the end of the word said? And our friends say D. So we're writing D. And we have said. Good job, friend. Good job, friends. So then we say, what's the word? And our friends say said. What's the middle sound we hear when we say said? And they say eh. We hear said. You're right, friends. When we say said, we hear the eh sound, like in edge. If you're using the sound wall and you're connecting it to the sound wall, more appropriate, instead of egg or elephant, a clearer phoneme sound would be like edge or echo. So we want to connect it to that. You can also connect some body kinesthetic movements. That's really helpful, especially for vowels. So that's why I chose edge, because they can, pretend like they're touching the edge of the table. So we say ed. You're right, friends, but this is a hard word, and this is the tricky part of the word. So when we say said, in the middle of the word, we hear the we hear the short E sound. But it is not the short E that spells the eh. It is special. This is the tricky part. It's A-I that spells the eh sound. Those 2 letters, that's the part we have to learn by heart. So now we're going to mark it for our friends. We're going to mark the heart part. And we're going to say this is the part that we have to remember by heart. Because usually the sound is represented by the letter E, but in the word said, it's represented with A-I. It's a tricky part. So now I'm going to write the word again while sounding out the phonemes with my students. So I'm going to erase that. I'm going to say, okay, friends, I'm going to write the word said. Said. Okay, your turn to write it. And they can, if you have them gathered around at the carpet, they can write it on the carpet. That is a really great way to use the tactile of the roughness of the carpet. You can air write it. You can have them write it if they have a whiteboard. They can write it on their arm, anything like that. But you're giving them an opportunity to also write it as they're saying the sounds. And then they're going to read the word said. Now we're going to draw a heart over the tricky part so we can remember it by heart. Okay. We're asking our students again, what is the word that we learned today? The word is said. Okay. So we can, at that time, we can go through that. You can do it. You can have your friends also have them erase their boards if they have it, and you can go back up a little bit and do a couple more words that you've previously taught them a couple of days ago, just to keep working. This explicitly teaching it the one time we know isn't going to like permanently store it for all of our students. Some of our kids are going to grab it like that. And some of our kids are going to need multiple attempts, but way less attempts than if we just flash up a flashcard for them. Right? Another thing that I know teachers are doing is they're printing out these cards and they're like posting them by their door so that they can, practice the words as they're lining up. Or you have like 1 minute between something. You're waiting for the music teacher to come in, and you can kind of like, I'm looking for a heart word that has a tricky part in the middle, so you're just paying close attention. I'm looking for a heart word that has the S sound in the middle. You're just giving your students to pay attention to what, first of all, they're connecting. They just have one irregular part of the word. There's only one irregular part. They've connected already because they have phonemic awareness skills. They already know the beginning and the ending. They're just having to make that one connection to the irregular part. Okay. You can give them more opportunities to practice like within center time. I've created like activities where students can map phoneme grapheme map words. They can do, if you were here yesterday and you saw, we could do phoneme grapheme mapping. The camera this way, where they use these little poppers. They love these. You can use these. There, they put the little high frequency word there, and then they pop up. We map it, tap it, map it. I've created these little task cards where they can use like pom-poms, erasers, counters, cubes, and they can say the word, and then they can map the word, and then they can write the word, and then they can flip it over and practice writing the word. So I'm not saying to you that if you do the heart word method, your kids are going to know the word as soon as you teach it. They're still going to need a little bit of repetitive practice, but they're going to be way more successful and not struggle so much. So let's see, what other questions do you have for me today? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop off. So my lovely friend Laura, she has been helping all week. She's been answering some questions in the comments while I'm talking, but she's also dropping in links. So we have a folder. It's a whole folder. So if you're on your phone, you'll want to save the link because it's a folder, compressed folder, and you probably can't open it on your phone. That has those resources of the instructional routine. It has a freebie where I share with you all of the activities that I've created because I created the whole thing for you. So there's like 3,000 teaching slides. If you're going to go through the word said where they're interactive, that you can project them on your board. They're already pre-made. Your students can slide them. They can move them as you're teaching. Then you don't have to like come up with, you can follow the routine without it, but it's already made for you for 220 words. But I've given you a free sample of that. I've given you the slide deck that I shared with you earlier, the heart word routines, and then also that scope and sequence where I've matched up 220 words for you. So I'm going to drop that in there, but also if you are loving the heart word routine, I know some people came today because they wanted to learn, I have the resource, how do I use it? So, if you would love to have the heart word resource, the full resource, it's 40% off. today, and then we'll discount it. I'll discount it all through today and all through tomorrow by midnight, because I know some people can't join us live, and I want to, be respectful of their time and their commitment to their family and all of that. So that will be 40% off through tomorrow. And you can grab that so that you can use the heart word routine in your classroom. So it's an exclusive discount just for you because you are dedicated and you are here. And I want to give you something to celebrate that. So let's see. I'm trying to peek through to see what other questions there might be. Amazon has small poppers. We didn't do any giveaways. Don't leave between the giveaways. So keep your comments in there. I forgot all about the giveaways. Okay, let's do one. First of all, just for the bundle, that includes all the slides. Oh, and I forgot to say, there's like independent student activities where like they're printables, where the students would go through that whole routine. You could have them do it with you, or as they learn the routine and they're more proficient at it, they can do it independently. So let's do a giveaway. Let's see. Okay, here's my question. It says, when it comes to ringing in the new year, do you prefer to be out on the town, or are you happiest when you are home early? Which do you prefer? Let's see what everybody says, and we'll give you the bundle. Let's see. I can't wait to use it. What do you prefer to do? So I'm a little bit older, so I don't even have any plans for New Year's. I'll be home. I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the age with my daughter where she's going to want to start going out, and I'm going to have to stay up to ring in the new year. Okay, lots of people are saying home. Okay, I'm not the only one. Oh my goodness. Home with your family, yes. Yes. Lots of people say home. Where are my party friends who can go out? Where are the young people? I know, I'm so silly. Heather says we celebrate East Coast New Year's on the West Coast. That's awesome, Heather. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think the only fair way is just to like scroll through, and somebody, Jennifer Dunlop, she says cozy at home with my husband and in our PJs. So Jennifer, you get to win today the sight word bundle. If you already have it, let me know, and I'll give you the sight word centers so that your students can continue to learn using those like task cards and the phoneme mapping activities. There's digital slides. There's a whole bundle of activities. So just let me know. But what you need to do, Jennifer, when we're done here, go ahead and send me a quick email and say you're a winner for this. And the email address is hello@mrswintersbliss.com. Email me there. Okay, let's do one more winner, and then I'll ask another fun question. All right, so scrolling, I'm scrolling more to the bottom. Let's see what this says. Michelle says, I'm happiest at home playing Monopoly with your family. That's awesome, Michelle. Okay, so Jennifer, you too. So I will send you the bundle. I'll give you the bundle because you are a winner. Thank you for joining us. hello@mrswintersbliss.com and tell me I won the bundle, the sight word bundle, and we'll get that out to you right away. Awesome. Okay, so any more questions? And then we have to give away the tumbler, right? I said that we were going to do that. Carolyn says, I already own the bundle. Are the cards in there? Caroline, are you talking? I think you're talking about, no, this is the sight word. So what happened is I released the sight word, heart word resource. And several teachers were like, this is amazing, but my kids need more. They need more activities that they can do in center time. How do I get that off there? They were saying like, I need more things that we could do during center time or independent time because they just need a little bit more practice. I mean, that's typical. Our students don't learn something as soon as we teach it. They need that cumulative practice. So I kind of like went back to my research and was like, what do our students need to do? And so I created some activities. This is connecting the phoneme awareness skills. This is separate from the other resource, but this is the sight word centers. So basically it's like mystery words where they're connecting the phonemes. So they see whale, and then the banana is because it's a schwa. If you have my sound wall, you know the banana stands for the schwa sound, and that's the sound. And the T would be the turtle. So it's connecting the three phonemes, t, right? So this is fun. This is called mystery words, and this the kids are going to match. And what's great about this is that as you teach it, you can just add it, and it keeps building, and your kids keep practicing. But that's part of that. Okay, so the reason why I said that is the cards. She said, do I have those cards? Yes, you have these cards. I think you mean these cards. These cards are in there's 220 words. They're marked already for you like this, or there's just a plain version with no markings, because these are all editable as well, because if you, let's say that you teach the word see, well, you don't want to put a heart on it because it's actually a temporary heart word. So you could just copy and paste and put the phoneme box here. So these are editable. This is in the bundle, the heart word bundle. There are like 8 documents or 10 documents that you have to open. They're all labeled so you can find everything. If you go to document number 1, it says start here. You will see the links that take you to the Google Slides. I wanted them to be editable so that you can get right on the Google Slides and you can just, copy or delete this and copy this and paste it there. Or you can just print out the blank ones without these little symbols and your kids can mark them. I think that's a really great idea. Give your kids more ownership, let them mark them as well, right? So these are in the bundle. Everything is there. The slides are in there. The worksheet's in there. There's a craft, like a little flip book that the kids can, I should have brought all of these things out. There's a little flip book so that the kids could flip it. So they say said and they can flip the sounds, right? There's activities for them to do as well. Okay, so let's do one more giveaway. Did anyone buy the bundle, or does anyone have the bundle? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Maybe somebody can tell me about what they think about the bundle. But, or maybe have you been using the heart words already? And now this is just more information for you. I'd love to hear. Yes, all the links are in the replay email. Yep. Great job. Thank you, Laura, for all the comments that you are doing there. Okay. One more question and we will send you a tumbler. This is a fun question, okay? And so if you celebrate Christmas and you know about mistletoe, then you know that if mistletoe is hanging on your doorway, the story is, or the tradition is that you kiss somebody if they're standing under the mistletoe. So just for fun, it could be someone you know in real life or not. If you could kiss any one person under the mistletoe, who would it be? Who wants a tumbler? Tell me who you're going to kiss under the mistletoe. My email, hello@mrswintersbliss.com. It's also, I think, in the link of the goodies that I'm going to be sending there. So, Aquaman, George Clooney. Oh my goodness. Does anyone want to kiss the same one? Of course, it's my husband, but anyone? Ooh, my first boyfriend. The freebie is there. The link is there. Oh, Susan, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling good. George Clooney, he might make you feel better if you kiss him, though. Oh, your mom and dad. Amy, I'm so sorry. Your puppy. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. We leave our mistletoe all year for me and my husband. I love it. Erica, I'm so sorry. Your late husband. gosh. Oh, my heart. Denzel Washington, all these fun people. My first love. Oh, the man that I've been waiting for God to send me for the last 55 years, Lisa. I bet he is coming right around that corner for you. My dog. Sherry wants to kiss my dog. Okay, Sherry. That's just fun. So I'm going to send you the Tumbler. So what you need to do is email me hello@mrswintersbliss.com and give me a mailing address. If you feel comfortable sending me your home address or your school address, wherever you want me to mail it to you, and I will mail it to you. So I love this. I'm going to come back and I'm going to read all your little comments about who you want to kiss because it's very endearing. I love it. I love it. I'm so sorry, Angie, that you lost your dad this year. Okay, well, I'm going to pop off here. If you were here for the replay, I would love to hear from you. Just say I'm watching the replay because I can connect with you. If you have more questions that you're thinking of, feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll try to do my best to answer whatever you have. I'm just so honored that, again, you've spent the time with me here today. Tomorrow is day 4 of 4 days of Source. So sadly, it's our last day tomorrow. But maybe we'll do this again soon. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about decodable text and how they are going to help our students be more proficient at reading. And I can't wait to share with you all the information that I've outlined to talk about. So I'm going to go now, but thank you so much again for joining. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. If you're watching the replay, make sure and say hi and download your freebies and enjoy. So bye for now.